What thing you must experience at least once in life? Two things come to mind, both are intentionally vague: completing something that at the onset you were not sure you were able to do, such as running a marathon or graduating college. Realizing one day, after much practice, that you have become good at that thing you once sucked at. Rocket League comes to mind for number 2. It hits on the first part of number 1 for me. Why do I see Rocket League everywhere? Edit, people, I know what Rocket League is. I am playing it right now, haha. That being said, I appreciate everyone for being so willing to explain it to new people. Cause it's a great game with 0 transferable skills. If you're good at a shooting game, or real-time strategy game, you can usually pick up another game of that type pretty easily. Everyone sucks hard when they start playing Rocket League, no way around it. Well, I love Rocket League. I was more just saying I see someone reference it in so many places that don't even relate to the game. Seeing the night sky without light pollution. It's almost a religious experience to see the stars and the stripe of the Milky Way from on top of a mountain. I'm from an overpopulated, urban part of southern UK. We live in rural France now in a tiny hamlet with just 6 houses and 1 street light that goes off at 11 p.m. We're surrounded by acres and acres of fields. The night sky is just astonishing. I saw my first shooting star a couple of years ago, and I'm past middle-aged. We sleep with the windows open and all we can hear is wildlife and the farmers' cows. It's paradise. I used to live in a tiny island nation with very little light pollution. As a kid growing up, my friends and I would play a game where whoever counts the most shooting stars wins. I would always spot no less than 10. Edit. Thank you so much for my first ever award. Wow, at 32 years old I've probably seen maybe 20 in my entire life. See if your area has any meteor showers. Then just go to an area with little to no light pollution to watch. I remember a meteor shower in my area a number of years ago, and yeah, they're quite spectacular to watch. I went to Tanzania a few years ago and oh my goodness. I didn't realize the night sky actually looked like those galaxy posters. I was in awe and I've been dying to get that experience again. Same when I went as a Londoner. I even remarked to my friend that it was a shame about that cloud as we were looking at the stars. He just went, that's the Milky Way. Blew my tiny little mind. I grew up on the edge of Glasgow, and then moved to Bristol. So I had never been anywhere without light pollution. My job one night took me to a dark sky park in Scotland on a clear night. I had never seen the Milky Way in such detail. It was awe-inspiring. My favorite part of going out to sea. Starting a rather big and meaningful project and completing it. I wish I could complete small and insignificant projects. Climbing the stairs or climbing a mountain, it's all just a bunch of steps one after another. It's just that sometimes the stairs come with altitude sickness. I went through hell and high water for my town to build a disc golf course. I didn't think I would win, but I was persistent and eventually very successful. From that moment on, something just clicked for me. I got my life together and everything. Kind of wild what a project can do to someone. Like another hub? Stop, I can't bring myself to finish mine. I've never even started, but I'm building a mansion, so I guess that counts, right? Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis. But Seymour won't let me in his kitchen. Edit. Wow, never thought a stupid comment would blow up like this. You're an odd fellow, but I must say, you steam a good ham. Seymour, the house is on fire. No mother, it's just the Northern Lights. A quarter-second of a fire engine. Steamed hams, but it's quarter-second fire engine sounds. Hand to the heart, the day I know I'm not long for this world and I get granted a final wish, this will be my choice. Which doesn't mean I will wait before I'm about to die to see them. It's just to make an example at how much I want to see such a phenomenon. I have only thing left to do in life. Bring me to see the Northern Lights. Just a heads up, hopefully that time is between late fall/early spring. They aren't usually a year-round thing. I am not a vain person at all, but once I was in a situation where I walked into a room and everyone looked at me in admiration. I very much doubt it will ever happen again, but boy, it was a rush. Edit, thank you for the awards. It was at a hotel aimed at over 25s, and the week I stayed, I think I was the only woman under 50. I got dressed up for the meal, walked into the cocktail hour. That was nearly 20 years ago, so no, I will never be the youngest or prettiest in the room ever again, but it was nice when it happened. This happened 5 years ago when a buddy of mine and I walked into a bar on Halloween dressed as Commander Cody and Captain Rex. I peaked that day. You didn't remove your helmet though, right? Because if you did, then they would know you aren't actually clones, and that would ruin the magic. Implying they aren't clones. I had to drink all my drinks through straws that night, worth it. Wedding day? Funeral. Well, it is now. Without realizing it, I don't like being in the spotlight, normally behind it. I get this almost every time I enter my classroom, being the instructor and the students want to learn. Super corny alert. Helping a stranger who needs help. No video, no pictures, no expectation of reward. Just knowing that you did something for someone who's on the outside, you brought him or her in for a minute. Obviously, if you experience this at least once, then it won't be your last time, so maybe it doesn't qualify, but WTF ever. I did that once. I was at a tire store getting a nail hole patched, and there was a woman waiting there at the same time. The store employee came out and told her car was in bad need of an alignment and gave her the quote, but she said she couldn't afford it and not to do it. As the guy was writing me up, I asked him how much the alignment for that woman would cost, and he told me. I told him to put it on my bill and not to tell her it was done until she was leaving with her car. I was long gone, so I never got to see her find out it was done, but it felt good helping someone out. You're a good person, and your action probably made her day, so thank you. Today you, tomorrow me. Love this one. I cleaned carpets to put myself through college. One thing that I remember more than all the big jobs and the crappy days was helping out a French-Canadian widower. I speak French fluently, but there aren't a lot of opportunities to speak it where I live. I started chatting with him as I was measuring the carpets and all that. As we were talking, I learned that his wife of 50 years had passed away a couple months before. I priced everything out for him, a relatively small job, but with 15 stairs, and we charged $3 per stair. He told me that was too much and would just get the rest of the carpet done. I started cleaning and he took off to the grocery store. I finished everything and he still wasn't back, so I decided I would just clean the stairs for free. It was my last job of the day and it would only take about 10 minutes. The poor guy walked in right as I was finishing the last couple of stairs and exclaimed, "I told you not to do the stairs." I smiled and calmly responded, "No, you told me not to charge you $3 a stair." I've never seen someone get so emotional over such a small thing. Years later, I can't help but smile when I think about it. I've been on the other side of this, and being shown kindness by a total stranger was so powerful. I was young, maybe 18, and going through a really difficult time. I was on a train with my head turned toward the window, trying to hide the tears falling from my eyes. A guy handed me a Kleenex as he was getting off the train, and after he left I realized he had slipped a $20 bill inside. That small act of thoughtfulness from a stranger is something I still think about to this day, and I try to pay it forward when I notice someone having a rough day. The world would be an amazing place if everyone could be that kind toward each other. That's so nice. I had an instance where I traveled from Puerto Rico to Florida to visit my daughter for her first birthday, with only enough money for the trip and to feed myself for 4 days. My sisters ended up abandoning me at the airport. There I am, 22, with $0 in my card, and waiting till 11 p.m. to get picked up and dropped off at a motel, because I had nowhere else to stay. I met a guy that was going to some other state up north. I decide to share my situation, and he gives me two $50 bills. He made me cry. I will never forget his kind gesture. He allowed me to buy my daughter her birthday dress. To eat, because I didn't have any money left over from having to rent a motel room. He changed my life. I have paid that kindness forward, and will continue to do so, for the rest of my life. I wish everyone the best. I was talking to my dad about that a few weeks ago. Sometime in life you may find yourself stuck in a situation where you are totally effed without help from a stranger. It is a very desperate and helpless feeling, where you have to hope that someone finds it in their heart to help you out when you can offer nothing in return. If someone has ever done that for you, remember that and do your best to pay it forward later in life when you can. Snow. I'm from a tropical country, so it has been a dream since childhood to experience making a snowman or be in a snowball fight. Edit. Whoa, thanks for the awards, kind strangers. I'm from a snowy climate, and for all our griping about shoveling and being cold, there really is something magical about going outside when it's peacefully snowing. The world sounds muted and it's like being alone, but in a good way. Everything is coated in white and sparkles. And a good snowball fight is always great. And then coming back inside and getting changed into warm fluffy clothes and drinking hot cocoa is amazing. Also, the sound of walking on snow and hearing it crunch under feet is a great feeling. As a kid, I loved eating snow too. The texture was so satisfying. Snow cones never are the same. And cracking the ice on a puddle with your boot. It's strangely satisfying. Yeah, it really is something to experience. Especially if it's not too cold out. I could do without the -50°C wind chill. A total solar eclipse. To see a black hole in the sky where the sun used to be, with stars all around it in the middle of the day, is an unbelievable experience. Edit. My first Reddit gold. Thank you, kind stranger. And everything gets quiet and the bugs decide it must be nighttime. We had one a year ago. It was awesome. And the drop in temperature is so cool. The 2017 eclipse was seriously one of the coolest things to experience. It really was. I was off work that day, so I went to spend the day on the patio of the coffee shop my partner was working at the time. When the eclipse came, everyone came outside, and they locked the doors to the cafe and we all just watched it together, passing the special glasses around to those who didn't get a pair. It was definitely one of the coolest experiences of my life. Definitely this. There are people who dedicate their lives to this, called eclipse chasers. I went on an eclipse trip to Mongolia for the 2008 eclipse, and many of them were on this trip. I didn't understand until the eclipse happened. The moment of totality is unlike anything else. I decided that day to drive 5 hours to go see it. My parents thought I was crazy to go to those lengths, but something I said about the potential for crazy traffic made them think they had to come along to make sure I was safe on the drive or something. So, they did, and my dad brought his photography equipment just because. They were totally blown away. My dad got some awesome pictures of the eclipse and cute pictures of the three of us. We had a great time, and I was glad to have a navigator to constantly recalculate new routes around traffic jams. It was very wholesome. I saw one a few years ago and was very surprised how much of an effect it had on me. I wasn't that excited for it, but when it happened it was totally surreal and magical. The light, the temperature, the way time seems to stop. Definitely recommended. I was held hostage by car bomb for about 14 hours once by a man who went AWOL from the special forces. I sat within feet of him the entire time the bomb was dismantled and then had to treat him as a medical provider. At first, it was just terror. I had small children at home, a wife to go home to. But after the initial adrenaline wore off, it was very freeing. I could die at any moment and there was nothing I could do about it. And, while that's an almost certainty for all of us, it's usually not something so surreal and in the forefront of our minds. I wasn't worried about my student loans or the rent or my credit card payment or the car loan. None of it. I took a nap for a bit. Everyone should get to feel like that. Maybe we would all slow down and just give each other a break. Yup. Nothing like a prolonged near-death experience that you have no control over to make you realize you really can't control anything, so you might as well enjoy life. Haha. I have had 3 open-heart surgeries. I am in my mid-30s. I have lived with a bomb in my chest for my whole life. In all reality, aren't we all teetering on the edge of life and death? None of us knows the moment when we will pass to the other side. Our whole lives should be lived without worry and fear. Just life. Yeah, not to add to this, but my grandpa has a pacemaker and taught physics and likes to remind us that we are overdue for a solar flare, an EMP large enough to disrupt most electronic devices on Earth, including his pacemaker. I lived on the top floor of an apartment building that caught fire. I got myself and my cat out, the only living things in my unit, and watched the building continue to burn from across the street in a friend's apartment. As you said, as the initial adrenaline wore off, I came to the realization that all of my possessions were going to be toast. And just as you said, it was a freeing feeling. All the stuff that we are subconsciously so concerned about, so attached to, none of it really mattered. I could get new clothes and furniture eventually. The only thing I couldn't replace was my artwork, and so what? My life would go on just the same and I'd make more. Then as the day went on, they got the fire out and the fire chief cleared the building structurally so that some tenants could go back into their units and salvage anything undamaged. My unit was unburnt. Some stuff was smoke damaged, but for the most part, everything was okay. I had all my stuff back. And it was kind of disappointing in a weird way. I felt the onus of my entire possessions drop back onto my mind. My property owners had already set me up with a new unit a few blocks away and I could move in immediately. So now, I had the task of schlepping all my crap around. It was a weird day. I think about this a lot. I don't have my own family or pets, and if I came home to a smoldering pile of ashes, I don't think I'd actually be all that upset. I'd collect the insurance money, put the lot up for sale, and hit the road. I'm glad you made it. I love you, bud. This is one of the things I miss about the military. Overseas, nothing else mattered except what was in front of me. Life was always in the present. Once bullets start flying, things become even more focused. When you come back in, water tastes better, food tastes better, the ground you sleep on is more comfortable. You know, it's been 30 years since I played competitive sports and I remember that feeling very clearly. The ball, the puck, the person that will knock the crap out of you if you give him a chance, it's all you can think about while you're in the middle of it. All of a sudden, I miss it. I'm too old for ice hockey or football now, but maybe I'll take up tennis or something. Yes. I once was hiking and walked straight into a bear on its hind legs. I was about 5 to 10 feet away, saw another bear behind it 20 to 39 yards away, and heard the rustling of its cub behind me. Luckily, we both got the drop on each other, so it was just as surprised as I was. I backed up, turned a corner behind a boulder not far away, and just waited for this bear to come and rip me up. I wasn't afraid, I just accepted it. And it was the most free I have felt in my life. No worries existed in my mind for a few minutes until I realized they went their own way. Sometimes I think about that feeling when I'm trying to relax, haha. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.